Welcome back to episode 141. So in last week's video you saw me tackling the rust at the back of the 79 car. So I have now cut a patch out of the replacement panel that I have and I've tacked that in place and welded up a few of the other little bits, making decent progress. What I want to do though in this episode is try and finish off the welding at the back of the car. That is my dodgy welding and I get a lot of comments about it. Apologies in advance. I'm trying, all right? I'm trying. What I find is, or most people say, try and do the welding in long runs. I can't, it just blows through. And no matter how much I turn the welder down, well, if I come down too low, it won't penetrate the metal, both, straight through the two pieces of metal. If I turn up too high, it obviously blows through. I'm trying to find that happy medium. And the best thing I've found is to either do a sequence of small welds, and then we'll grind that later, or to do little slugs, which are about an inch long, let go of the weld, bring it on again, and that is enough time to sort of sequence those together without it blowing through. It seems to work. Bear with me. I'm trying. Keep adding comments about what I should do. I should get more scrap metal and sort of keep practicing on those. Occasionally it goes really well. I'm quite pleased with it. Sometimes it goes a bit of a pig's ear. So that's that. That's what we're going to be doing this week, trying to wrap that up at the back there. A big thank you as ever to all the members. Really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. If you're not a member, the join buttons are, I think it's probably that side, is it? I'm not sure. I have to try and watch the video. Maybe it's over this side. It's down there somewhere that says join. Click it. Support the channel. Help me grow the channel. We'll keep going. Members get the extended versions of these videos, so about an hour long, 55 minutes, something like that. Shows a lot more detail about what I do, why I'm doing it, and stuff like that. I also released another set of videos that talk about the whys and where I plan to go and all those sorts of things. It's called The Drive Home. It's me driving my car actually home from dropping the kids off. It gives me about 15 minutes to ramble on about what I'm going to do, which some of you find interesting, hopefully. Anyway, let's stop gibbering. Let's get in there. See how I get on this week. Do comment, like, and subscribe, please. Help me grow the channel. We're aiming for 5,000 by Christmas, which is pretty ambitious, but let's try. Let's get in there. And I sort of welded that patch in. That was a monstrous patch. I think I posted it on the community channel. I was really pleased with that. That piece was cut out of the original or the replacement panel I bought. And then this, I had to sort of create this piece on top. It actually welded in really nicely. Okay, it might not be the tidiest, but it's pretty decent, especially for me. I probably won't even bother grinding that down because it's quite neatly in there. It's definitely in there solid. Now what I'm going to do is I want to take a look at this. I want to fill this with weld and then come across and grind it and see how good we can get this. I'll deal with these holes here as well at the same time. So technique here, I'm just going to do a number of spot welds and then come back and grind. I'm actually going to do these first just to check. I've not used the welder for a week or so and just check sort of settings. These are comically very familiar to me because this is what you have to do when you blow through, filling a hole. That one has gone in perfectly, the first one I did. This one I've only done about half of it. So they've come up, and obviously I'll grind those down. I've got a tiny bit on the front I can still see needs doing, but I may as well grind those down now because it will reveal other holes. Right, that's opened up a couple of holes I can see, so quite nice and easy just to weld those up now. It's come along okay though. Right, so I'll grind those down again in a second. I'm actually going to move along to this now, so when I've got the grinder out I can just do it all in one go. I feel that feels good still. Right, I think that's looking pretty good. Do I even need to grind it down? Yeah, I do, all right. Let's just buzz a bit more there. I think I can put a little bit more material into that hole. Like that. Just build that out a little bit. Yeah, and that looks okay. Right, so let's get grinding. That's where I've got to with it at the moment. It's getting there, you know. It's the first time I've actually ever tried doing it, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect yet. A couple of holes here I can see, so I'll have to put a bit more weld there. I need to weld a bit more on the bottom there. But, you know, it's getting there, it's getting there. These are looking much better. I've got a little bit more to do with them, but they're looking much, much better. Right, it's beautiful Saturday morning and I think it's weld time. So what I'm planning to do this morning, I've got about half an hour till I need to get the kids up, is to come along here and actually sort of seam weld this, this big replacement panel, which should go okay. I don't think there's gonna be any major problems with it. Let's get the gloves on and then we can do battle. I need to quickly turn the gas on the welder and we're good. So using the same settings as before. I'm going to deal with this top bit at some point. There's a bit of a big gap there, but I'm not worried about that for the minute. This all overlaps, so shouldn't blow through. Should be pretty straightforward. Let's try and see what happens. So I've got my line. Whoop. Now this is that stupid weld through primer. I've got a little bit there, so let me quickly take that off. Right, I'm just using a standard wire wheel on a drill. I've probably got them off Amazon. I get most of my stuff off Amazon because I'm so last minute. Everything I do, it's like, oh, damn, I need wire wheels, so I can get them tomorrow. So I just click on Amazon. I know it's bad. I'd rather not. I'd rather support the smaller companies, but it just works, unfortunately. Anyway, if you ever want any of my bits I use, I provide links in the description of all the Amazon items. If you buy from me, then I get a little kickback, I believe, which would be very appreciated. A bit smoky, not gonna lie. It's just the paint on the inside. Paint and glue on the inside. It will be fine. Right, that's actually welded all the way along there now. It's not my neatest handiwork, but it is welded in. Right, see now, I know the weld is set up pretty good because that is really nice compared with the other stuff. That's looking really good. So it makes me think that it's more about the surface was not clean, and whatever causes the weld to go bad, which I suspect is either bad earth or bad dirty surfaces, which is the same as bad earth, isn't it? Okay, and now I need to come all the way along the back here. Now this is bridging a bit of a bigger gap, which is why it's spitting so much. It just is what it is, I'm afraid. I don't think I can do a great deal about it. There we go. So I've got quite a lot of metal on there. Just give me enough to grind off. That looks fine, I think. I didn't bother videoing it all, but I've ground down this weld all the way around here. A little bit less so around this side. I'm not trying to make it look perfect. I just wanted to sort of grind it down a little bit so it's a bit more presentable. What I did do though is I overground here because I was trying to make it perfect, and I've ground through. So I made a little hole, and then I came back to weld it, and then it blew through, and it's blown through pretty much all you can see that I've welded over there. So I'm not going to touch that anymore because it is it's covered and it's good enough. I also have applied a couple more spot welds here, sort of there and there, just to fill up some little holes. That's pretty good though, that's not bad at all. I think you saw me, I cut a fillet in here, so that's quite nice. I'm really pleased with that as well, actually. It's quite hard to see there's ever anything, well, there wasn't metal there. And I need to do something here, I still need to do that. This side, it's hard to tell, like in this light, it looks worse than it is, but this is super smooth coming down here now. You can see, of course you can see where the weld is, but I'm tempted not to do any more because I suspect any self-respecting bodywork guy would put filler in here anyway, and the more I cut out, the weaker it's going to get. Across here is pretty good. If you remember, I put a fillet in about, I think it's there. There's a big gap was there. That's done. What we're down to now then, if I can just lean over, is this bad boy. Now, on the underside, this plate goes in here. And I just need to, if you can see, it's still quite a bit big. I just need to cut it down, mark it, cut it down, get it right, and then we'll weld that in. And I'm tempted. No, I'll do it. What I'm worried about is that I won't be able to weld on the back side of it, or sort of deep in there. And I'm tempted to weld it from the inside. I'm going to have a quick look at that and just see what makes sense. But ultimately I'm going to hold this up, get in the right position, draw a line on the inside, cut it so it's just big enough, and then weld it in. Okay, so it should be pretty simple to cut this out. Probably the hardest thing is how to hold it in the vise, because it's a bit of a weird shape. I might try, it doesn't matter if I actually sort of bend some of it now, obviously. I might try there, and I'll come along the top there. It's going to vibrate around, but I'll try and hold it still with a hand. Let's just try and see what happens. I've purposely cut it quite sort of big. Oh, yeah, I definitely don't want to cut it too small. I'm still debating what type of weld to do there, whether I'm going to weld from the inside or from the outside. I think I'm probably welding it from the inside, and this patch is going to fit perfectly in the hole, is what I'm kind of resigned to. I must say I'm really pleased with my new vise. New old vise, obviously it's an old crappy vise, but when you've never had one, it makes such a difference. Right, I'm going to put it in like that. I've just got a tiny little bit to do down the bottom there. So when I'm really stripping this stuff down, I use one of these. This is a knotted steel wheel, and it goes on an angle grinder, which is it's pretty intense. I mean, it makes one hell of a racket. but it definitely gets this stuff off. Turn that around a little bit. Yeah, it's fantastic, but it's a little bit scary because it's just so brutal. I don't know what that bracket's for, but I'm going to leave it in place. And probably the easiest thing is to put it in like that, although I know you can't see a lot, but at least it's really secure. Of course, if it hits it like that, it will bend it out of shape. Well, that's not ideal, is it? Right, and this is actually the first time I've ever hit anything with this hammer. But I can suss out the theory. Yeah, that looks pretty clean. Okay, let's go try it back in the car. So the tricky bit here is going to be getting it absolutely where I want it, and I'm committed holding it there and then getting the welding. Well, I've managed to get that patch in. It's not the tidiest thing in the world. I'm not massively unhappy with it. It blew through there. I think I probably managed to show you that on camera. And I spent a bit of time. It was slightly, this is where the side caught on the angle grinder, it sort of misshaped it. And it was a little bit low here, and I've had to spend a bit of time building the weld up on the inside. I won't be showing you the inside. But yeah, that's in at least, and I think with a bit of seam sealant around here. I don't know if you put seam sealant on, if it's going to be sprayed or not, so I'm not going to put anything on it until I know. But yeah, at least that's that one done. Next, this is obviously going to be a bit more complicated. I don't have, I'm trying to think what I've got none of this, or maybe this little piece here. Maybe there's a little bit I can get off of the replacement panel, but it's going to be a little bit tricky. That's the last one then. Now, almost as if by luck, the off that replacement panel, I managed to cut that out. If you look, that is pretty much perfect. The only problem is it's got rust here. So what I plan to do is actually trim off this section here, but use it as a template and welding a new section. And then I think that'd be about right. I can rebuild here. And then there's just a little bit more around here that I need to do, and we'll be good to go. So I'm actually going to do it the other way around. I'm going to fit this patch in here first, like that, roughly. Just tack that in and then put this piece in. I'm keeping this piece, although it looks tatty, it has the perfect fold on this edge here, which I worry about trying to recreate that. Right, there's that piece in. That's come out really nice actually. That's very smooth there. I just dressed it here with a hammer. That is looking pretty good to me. So then the next phase is to take this piece and weld it in there like that. That gives me, I can't do it two-handed, but it gives me the continuation of this line there, which is going to be tricky to create. It's a little bit patchy, but I'll fix all that up with welds. And I just need to trim the very bottom edge. You can see the a little bit of rust killer on there that I had. I just need to trim that so it fits correctly, and then that will finish that off quite nicely, I think. I'll need to patch up a few little holes and things, a bit of hole here, but it's better than nothing, and that should be fine, I think. So in the interest of sort of preserving metal, what I'm going to do is just tap this in. I've got my nice new shiny body panel hammers. So I'm going to just pull that in a little bit like that. And I'll overlap this bottom edge where I've left a bit too much. I'll actually overlap it to create something better to weld against. Right, I wasn't very happy with this whole area really. I know the piece I've put in there is this sort of scrappy little bit, but it's got that shape that I need. So I've kept that, obviously replaced the top part. Whoops. And I've just spent a bit of time. I've basically cut out a lot more along here. I'm not happy with this piece, so I've cut all that out. I've cut out the scrappy bit at the front of this piece I put in. I've made this little insert that will go there, and then I'm going to renew the whole front across there. I think it's the only way I know that I'm going to have solid metal there and not always worry, is there a bit of rust tucked underneath? So I'm going to tack that piece in there like that. Then I'm going to dress it a bit more because just to get the contours correct, because it's quite a complicated shape. Then I'm going to cut a piece of metal to fill in this sort of round bit. I can do it with a straight line and then just sort of disc flat pad, I guess, flat pad it to get the correct shape. But yeah, that's where I am at the moment. I think what I'm really keen to do is get this in a state that's not too bad, and then get some edge primer on it so it doesn't start rusting. I probably need to have a look here. There's something dubious going on there. I may just cut that lump out and see if I need to put a patch in. But yeah, we're getting there, slowly but surely. Good. So I've just got the welder turned down even lower, and it's allowing me to do these runs a little bit nicer, which is really cool. So that's that top edge done. Now what I'm going to do is sort of dress that with a hammer to get it into the correct shape. It's this bottom edge where it just sort of folds under. That's got it that side. Like that. And yeah, we can just ham that under. I'm going to just sort of do a bit more on the other side for a bit though. Right, you can see that if I sort of show you with a hammer because it's still hot. This is the patch I've just welded in. Around the top here I've just done lots of little welds because it has a tendency to blow through because it's very thin metal. I think the Porsche stuff is it 1.2 mil? It's very, very thin. My stuff's about 2 mil thick, so it's a little bit more resistant. Which is why I could actually run a weld straight down here because it's welding onto my own stuff because that's my original plate there. Right, let's just tap the bottom under now. Like that. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take off all of this all the way back to about here. Let me get my pen. Just mark. There's a little rust mark underneath, and I figure I may as well take it all out. So up to about there, and on the other side is good. I might just take that last bit off with a bit of rust on the top. Basically, take that out, and then we'll remake that. It shouldn't be too bad. I'm a little bit worried about welding all the way along there, but hell, whatever. We can always grind it off, can't we? Well, unfortunately, I've run out of time. Easter's got in the way. I didn't plan for Easter to come along and ruin my my car work. Where do we get to then? I've got one side, the driver's side, the UK driver's side, all welded up. I've got the passenger side. I'm looking at these sort of gullies. Passenger side is welded, but it's not been ground down. It's a bit of a mess. And I have got the patch created to weld along the lip of, I think it's the last thing I cut off, the lip along the back of the car. I've got that ready. I'll tack that on and sort of get that sorted. And then I think, there's one tiny little square I need to do on the other side, and then we're completely done. And to be honest, I'd be quite pleased to be done with it. I do quite like welding, and I've improved across this journey. Well, definitely because I couldn't weld at all to start with. But across this episode, I've definitely improved. This last piece I put in actually let me do, I found the happy place on the welder that let me do a weld about that long in one go without blowing through on thin metal. So that's an achievement in its own right. So that's that. I'm actually thinking the sill that I did, a year ago, probably something like a year ago. I've got another replacement sill because when I showed the body shop, he said, no, we'll have to do that again. So I've actually got another sill and I'm half tempted to have a crack at that again, actually, but that's another story. That's another video somewhere in the future, who knows. Anyway, as I always say, thank you very much for watching. click like, click subscribe, comment. I'll see you next time.